Hey, what's happening, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Live from My Mother's Basement. You can hear in my voice how happy I am because obviously we're not in my mother's basement. No, we're in some disclosed neighborhood in Florida somewhere. I can't give you the address. All I can tell you is I am so happy and honored to be invited to my guest's home. This is Ciro Dapagio, who we're having back on the show because when we taped this once before, it just wasn't happening. Different time in life, but now things are bigger, better, and I'm here in Florida. Like I said, I can't tell you where we are, but this house is absolutely stunning, gorgeous. We're out by the pool. I'm having a cappuccino. He's having his delicious
My
monster.
sponsor, Monster Rehab. You need rehab? Monster. I cut that check.
Please cut the check. Ladies and gentlemen, Ciro Dapagio. Thank you, brother.
Hello.
Thank you so much for letting me come back and hang out with you and bullshit and catch up.
No worries.
Crazy life story, from my point of view. Crazy life. From where we're going to catch where he was born, raised, where did he go, how much time did he spend where he went, and now one of the biggest names in the movie business in the country. So I don't know much about Florida.
Yeah.
I mean, I really don't even know where we are. I could just tell you that it is absolutely gorgeous. It's the month of October. I don't know when this one's going to air, but it feels like it's summer. And so where were you actually born and raised? Because, a lot of people, when we look at your work, what's the first thing we think? He's like
Yeah.
a New Yorker, and
Yeah. I'm not really sure where I was born. I have a birth certificate that was filed 2 years later, which is normally an indication of adoption. I know that my parents were adopted parents. I don't really want to get into the whole, everybody always claiming to be something and all that. It just was what it was, and I got a good idea where I came from or whatever. But the moral to the story is yeah, I lived in New York, and yeah, I lived in Miami, and I consider myself a Miamian. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's Floridians, and then there's a Miamian.
is it that different?
It is that different. It's a mentality. It's a personality. I'm just. I take the sun and the beach and the pool and the water and the laid back atmosphere, the cultures, any day over trying to find parking just to go get a freaking submarine sandwich.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
So-
You kidding me? It's funny that you say the way there's a difference between Floridians and Miamians
Yeah.
because I live in Los Angeles. And I say the same thing. There's a big difference between Californians and Los Angelinos. It's
Yeah.
almost like a different country.
Yeah.
Because living in LA is rough. But there are areas of California like Florida. You go to the beach, you go surfing, life is laid back.
Yeah.
Los Angeles, oh, it's like you just said, you're waiting in line in traffic to get a sub sandwich.
Right. Yeah, I don't like it. It's gloomy, it's dirty. It's not like it was in the 80s. I was there in the 80s. It was a great time. Now I live there again, for a year, and I couldn't wait to get out.
Was that right?
Yeah, it was just horrible. Trash on the streets, potholes. You're driving down just, the beltway, and you're like, it's just morbidly ugly. You know what I mean? And you drive down the highways here in Florida, and it's like behind us here, picturesque. So.
And it's funny sometimes too, so many people that say, New York is the greatest city, this is the greatest place to be, and you feel like, oh no, it's really not. And then after the pandemic, it got really, really bad.
There's a reason why everybody transplants down here.
It's beautiful
So,
down here.
I'm not knocking it. It's more power to you. It's got its own vibe. If I had to live there, I would live in the city, obviously. But in order to do that and live there right, you got to have millions of dollars. So, that's just what it is.
If you're not a millionaire, living in the city is really going to suck. I think
Yeah.
you got to be like somewhere halfway to being a millionaire just to live decently.
Yeah, I agree. So,
But Florida's the place to be. Now,
Miami is the place to be, not Florida.
Florida, Miami,
South Florida.
Miami.
Let's put it that way. But yeah, Miami.
I don't know Miami extremely well. A lot of the reasons why I get to come to Miami is because I get to do some performances And then that's how I met you, and I got to spend some time in Miami working on your project, Silent Partners, which we're going to talk about. But let's suppose we're at the high school level. You're getting out of high school, you're getting ready to attack the world. Where did you go, and what did you do, and what are we allowed to elaborate
Well,
while we're listening?
I was really good at sports, so I had scholarship offers and stuff like that, and I was scheduled to attend the U, as a baseball player, and somehow or another, the lure of the easy money, became more pulling towards that life, so I ended up just it's one of my greatest regrets. I would have loved to have seen how I would have fared. At the time, the UM was the top baseball school. They had just won they won the College World Series a year after I would have been going there. But Ron Frazier was the baseball coach at that time. He followed my career all the way through Little League and into the high schools and stuff like that. And one thing led to another because of different types of things in my life, and it was a good 8-year run, and then it was a bad run.
You look like you would be like on the cover of Wheaties. Now that I think about it,
Yeah, it would. I played
he's
football.
the All-American star baseball player. What position did you actually play?
I was a pitcher.
Yeah.
Which was one of the problems, because I didn't want to pitch. I wanted to play shortstop, because when you get into the college levels and stuff, you're either a pitcher or an infielder. You're usually not both. You know what I mean? So, and I was a really good hitter, and they didn't let pitchers hit. So at that point, my scholarship was, you're going to be a pitcher. So I was like, no thanks.
Really?
Yeah.
You don't want to be the star of the team. Wants to be the guy to the right.
I wanted to be able to hit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess my shortstop skills weren't better than whoever else they were having at the time. So. But whatever,
It's always a competition, somewhere, somehow, or even politics, I guess.
Yeah. I can tell you something even more silly, right? So my group of friends, the other thing I wanted to do was fly fighter jets, right? So my group of friends, we were all going to join the Navy. I was going to join to be a fighter pilot. And we all go, we enlist, we do all, we sign up, we're going to do this. So we're going down to meet the recruiter and stuff like that, and get it all done. And I basically show up back home, and they're like, what are you doing? And I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna go. And they're like, why? I'm like, I'm not shaving my head and going through all that shit. I just want to fly jets. Because you're young and you don't realize there's a whole process involved. You
got to go to school and learn aviation.
Yeah, I've always been a person who wants to skip the process. You know what I mean? So it's like, fuck it. And then and the rest is kind of like history.
All right, so I could see the want to be a fighter pilot, and I could see, of course, the want to be a star athlete. I mean, you're really tall, strapping, good-looking guy in great shape. We're going to talk about also how he had some medical issues, because I got to say, you look 100% better than the last time I was down here and I saw you, and I'm glad to hear all of that success. But how could you and would you elaborate on what happened, that you didn't do the baseball thing, but you...
Yeah, again, I don't really care to be one of those people that glorify any of that type of life. So let's just say that, I was involved with things that, caused me to have an issue, and I spent quite a bit of time away and came out. Didn't want to spend quite a bit of time away again, so I said, well, let me try making movies about what I know, and it's been pretty successful.
Well, see, that's the thing. Comedy is the truth. That's what makes people laugh. Writing, creating the truth becomes more endearing for people to want to watch, and more believable because it's actually what really happened. So I've had a lot of different people on my podcast, some people who actually will glorify where they went and why they had to go, if you guys understand what I'm talking about, because that's what they have and that's what they want to take forward. Maybe they'll write a book, or they'll say, here's how you shouldn't do what I did, that type of a thing. Then they become influencers. Ciro here is actually just letting you know, I don't really need to talk about what went wrong, but now it's right. and I'm going to take that ball and go forward with it.
Yeah.
Am I correct saying it that way?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about the influencer term. You know, I have a lot of followers,
Yeah.
a lot of genuine people. You know, on like Facebook, for example, is a couple million. You know, of course, Facebook doesn't let you have exposure to everybody, but I still, if you look at the engagement, which is how you can always root out what's real and what's not. If someone has 1 million followers and they get 2 comments and 12 likes, you know what time it is. You know what I mean? Or even if they get 1,000 likes and only 2 comments, you know what time it is. The engagement is what's key, and that's why people come to me for, you know, endorsements and products and stuff like that. You know, I have a whole range of stuff that I have my name on and stuff like that. So, you know, it's based on the fact that when I put something out there, people buy it and people go for it. You know what I mean? So, in that sense, for whatever reason, you know, a lot of people talk about how I inspire them or whatever the case may be. So I want the inspiration to be about what you can do on the good side of the fence, not what, you know, you do on the bad side of the fence. You know what I mean? 'Cause
Yes.
maybe that was cool. You know, I thought it was cool in the 70s and 80s growing up and stuff, but the reality of it is it's not. And none of it is like what people think it is. You know, it's a dirty world, and, you know, I just assume forget that it ever existed because it ruined my life. You know, I spent a long time away. It ruined my kids' lives. Fortunately, God has seen it in His, you know, goodwill or universe, whatever you want to call it, to give me another chance at a family, to give me a chance to experience raising the kids all the way through instead of just partially here or there. And I'm going to capitalize on it, you know? So
And it's great what you do too, because I see your posts with your kids.
that's all that
And
matters.
a little boy.
Yeah. And my older kids and my grandkids. I got 13 grandkids. You know, I got a big family.
Holy shit!
Yeah.
Got 13 grandkids.
You know, I got 6 kids. I got, you know, grandkids, the whole 9 yards.
Well, there's one thing I definitely want to talk about, and I hope you'll expand on this,
Sure.
because this is inspirational for people who are watching, because there's a lot of people who go through this particular problem. I did, you did, and not a lot of people want to talk about it, but it's when you get sick and you have to make some decisions about your life, your body. Will you fight? You know, there's a lot of people out there who unfortunately get cancer. Will they fight? Will they get through it, or just succumb to it and say whatever? But there's some people out there like yourself that can actually help those people get through it
Yeah.
by saying, holy shit, I'm not alone.
Yeah.
You did it.
Yeah.
Can you tell me how you did what you did?
Sure. Well, you know, people who do follow me know that 3 years ago, well, now it'll be 3.5 years ago, I was in Spain. You know, I was going to do a TV show for the Mob King, and everything was looking good. And then, of course, COVID hit, and then I got diverticulitis, perforated diverticulitis with septic shock. Almost died. It was like a 12% survival rate. I was in ICU for 5 weeks. I lost 70 pounds. You know, and the doctor said the only reason why I survived was because of my muscle mass, you know? So, because it would have been eating my organs and stuff. So, the miraculous thing about Mob King, the movie, is that I had filmed the first 20 minutes of that movie before I went to Spain in December of 2019. And just to reset the deck, me and Jokes wanted to, you know, make it new, because the web series was widely popular. Everybody loved it, but we were like, let's do something different. Let's do something new, because we were waiting for it to come out. So long story short, you know, I'm pretty jacked up in that movie, because, you know, I work out every day, and that's how I'm able to put back my size now, even though I don't have testosterone because of the prostate cancer, but I'll get to that in a minute. But so I lose all that weight. I come back. I have a bag. You know, they gave me a bag, so I had a bag for 6 months. And I'm like, I got to get to America. I got to get my health right. You know, so I walk away from that deal out there. I come back here. I get the surgery, get that off of me, and put my weight back. And the miraculous nature of the film is that there was a small window, and it just so happened that everybody was available. And my physique was exactly like it was prior, 3 years ago. You know,
Right,
3
right.
years earlier, 2.5 years earlier. So, and the daughter, like, now we wouldn't have been able to do it, because now she's 22 and
Got
she
older.
looks, you know, way different. But when we did this 2 years ago, she was right at that point where you didn't really see much of a difference. You know what I mean? And then everybody being available, but most importantly was, you know, nobody had face tattoos that were new. Nobody had, and the main character, my character, looked exactly the same. Because if you've watched the movie, the majority of the movie, I'm either shirtless or in a tank top with blood covered over me.
Yeah, yeah.
And fighting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, it was imperative that look matched, or we wouldn't have been able to do it. So that was a miraculous thing there. So then, almost towards the end of filming, I have a problem going to the restroom or whatever, and it had nothing to do with the cancer, but it was just like some fluke that I just couldn't pee something, and okay, I got some type of infection or whatever, and I go there, they put a catheter in, and I wait 3 days, I go back, still can't pee, I go over, they do, all their little things, and, long story short, you got prostate cancer, metastatic stage 4, it's all over you, in your ribs, your lymph nodes, or whatever. If I had gotten that diagnosis, even when I got that diagnosis, they're like, you got 18 months. If you wouldn't have had trouble urinating, this is what the urologist told me. If you wouldn't have had trouble urinating, he's like, you believe in God? I'm like, I don't know, I guess, right? And I told him I believe something's out there, How could it not be? And he's like, well, you need to think whoever it was, because had you not had that problem, prostate cancer, you can live all the way up until like the last month. And sometimes if it's in your backbone, then you get where you paraplegic or whatever, right? So that's how people find out about it, or their bones are hurting and they don't really know. You know what I mean? Like your ribs will hurt, but you think it's gas or whatever.
Right.
So the reason why now I'm a firm believer in God, okay, is because of that reason there, number one. But then, they're like, okay, so we're gonna try. When you have prostate cancer, the fuel for the fire is testosterone. So you guys out there that are doing testosterone at 40, 45, who they're telling you, yeah, it makes you feel better and all this other kind of stuff. And I'm not talking about bodybuilding testosterone. Like, that's a whole different ballgame. If I had been doing testosterone like that for a bodybuilder, I would have been dead already, because it's fuel to the fire.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying? So the only thing that prostate cancer eats is testosterone. So when you get it, if you can't have radiation to get it out of your prostate or have your prostate removed or whatever, then you have to do these hormone treatments. And the hormone treatments basically try to turn you into Caitlyn Jenner. All right?
Wow.
Because they take away all the testosterone in your body. Like your testes produce it, but then I think it's the thalamus or the pituitary gland. I'm not really a doctor, so I don't know, but there's a gland that gives like 10% of it. These pills and treatments, there's a shot called Lupron you take every 3 months. It's very powerful. It makes your bones hurt and all this, but it drains that testosterone and kills, in theory, not kills, but shrinks the tumors and makes them lie dormant. So usually, when you have metastatic stage 4 prostate cancer or breast cancer, they're basically the same for women. Then you do these hormone treatments, and you have to usually go 3 years, and then you get what's called a holiday, and eventually it comes back because it gets resistant. Then there's another set of treatments to deal with the resistance. But basically, it's like a disease now, where 5 years ago, the lifespan of you when you got metastatic stage 4 prostate cancer was about less than 2 years, because they had no way of controlling it. So now that's the good side of things, right? So because of my age, they thought maybe you have the gene, maybe it's, genetic or whatever. Clearly it was genetic, but, my adopted parents never had it, but I had no way of finding out who, what, when, or where.
Wow.
So I didn't know. And fortunately I got it caught. Now, where the God transformation comes in is like, okay, so they're telling me, we want you to do this drug called Erlita, we want you to do chemotherapy, and we want you to do the shot, right? I'm like, I'm not doing chemotherapy, we'll just see how the other two work. And I don't know why I did that, because it could have been a life-changing decision.
Yeah, what made you say no?
I could have died. I don't know. Similar to like the Navy story. I was like, I can't lose my hair. I'm in the middle of work. I got things I'm doing. I have a career. If I'm only going to live 3 years, I still want to create the legacies that I need to get my family straight. You know what I mean? So for some reason, I just didn't do it. And my PSA, for those of you out there that know, was 68.0, okay, which is outrageously high. So my urologist says that out of 30 years of being a urologist, he's only seen a score that high 7 times. So my Gleason was an 8, if you know these terms. The Gleason was an 8, and it was metastatic stage 4. So I take just the 2 treatments. right away after the first month, it goes from 68 to 13, which is still extremely high. If you had a 13 right now on your PSA, you would have cancer 100%, right? And then it dropped down to 4. So clearly the medicines, people have a good reaction, people don't have no reaction, people have bad reactions, right? Clearly I was having a good reaction. After 3 months, it went all the way down to the undetectable. It went to 0.9, which is undetectable. So the most important thing was when I did the PSMA2 scan, that's the other thing that they got now. Before their treatments, once you had metastatic, they didn't allow you to have any curative care because they figured it was already in your bones. There's no way to tell because a bone scan only picks it up when it's already tumors. But now they have a PSA2 scan. It's called a PSMA2. They shoot some stuff into you and it lights up exactly where the prostate cancer is in your body. Exactly.
Oh,
right?
shit.
So now they know. So the Erlita, when I did the PSMA2 scan 3 months later, the Erlita had actually killed 3 spots. I had 8 spots. In order to get approved for insurance, you have to have 3 to 5 spots in your body max, right, to be able to do the radiation, because it's a lot of radiation when you go outside that part as well. And plus the insurance costs $1 million. Who's got $1 million to do insurance to do radiation for a month? You know what I mean?
Right. Holy shit.
So the miraculous thing was, he's like, I don't, these results are, really confounding to me, he says, because we have 3 spots that were actually killed by the Erlita. That usually doesn't happen. So again, you got somebody on your side. So now you qualify for the radiation. So I went through the whole radiation. I did the ribs on radiation. I came off the medication after 1 year. I've been off of it for 5 months, so it takes a while for your body to get back because these are powerful medications, so my legs are still sore, but my energy levels are back. I'm in the gym, and the beautiful thing about this, maybe a lot of you don't know, you guys out there, you don't actually need testosterone to build muscle. It just inflates your building process. The same way it inflates the cancer, it inflates the muscle process. Basically fake muscles, you know what I mean? But you can't get that enormously, bodybuilder look without all of that stuff. And that's why when you see them after the fact of doing it, they don't look themselves, you know what I mean? They shrivel up like a prune. So, that's where I'm at now. I am coming back, and if I stay, my PSA levels are in remission. So if I stay that way for 5 years, then I'm considered cured. But, in the end, when you have cancer, is it really ever cured? I'm young, so the chance that it comes back later, but they have this term that they use called whack-a-mole. So if the PSA starts to rise, then we go in, we do a PSMA scan, we see where it's at, and they whack it with radiation.
Whack them all.
So it's basically a managed disease now.
Yeah.
It's not like pancreatic or brain or something like that are just devastating diagnoses. That's when there's nothing you can do.
That shit's heavy. I got to tell you, man, you do look phenomenal.
Thank you.
I don't remember when I was down here last and I was doing the show and you and your friends came to the show and I'm like, wow, you look a little skinny.
It was over a year ago. Yeah, I was definitely skinny. I lost a bunch of weight again,
It's interesting that you went through diverticulitis. I don't know how you said it. I had diverticulitis too. Diverticulosis, you live with. It's the seed bullshit that's in your colon that eats away at you. But if it inflames, then you got to go into the hospital and have a piece of your colon cut out. Yeah. I had that done. I didn't have cancer. I had resection. They took
that too.
12 inches of the colon out.
Yeah.
I lost so much weight, I looked like a skeleton just laying in that bed.
Okay, so,
but they saved my life because I couldn't go to the bathroom.
Yeah, so exactly what you had, there's another thing on top of it called perforated. It's where it forms a pouch.
Right.
And then when it ruptures, it's called perforated diverticulitis with complications. So now I'm in Spain. They don't know how to diagnose this crap. So for 3 weeks, I'm going in with all this pain. They're telling me I just got back pain. They're giving me pain meds. Nobody even ran no blood.
Man.
But at the same time, what's happening is poison's going into my bloodstream. So by the time I go in 3 weeks, I basically fall out, So I went into shock and all that kind of stuff. And it was just a miserable time for me. I was just, that's even worse than cancer, what happened to me there.
I think so too, because when I eventually had that surgery, the pain,
it's a horrible pain.
The pain that's in your stomach.
It's a terrible pain. In fact, the day that I finally went and they admitted me and they knew something was going on, I told my wife, I go, I gotta have stomach cancer or something. This is just too painful. You know, couldn't walk, couldn't move, was shaking. It was just terrible, man. But,
I've been saying for a long time too now, especially even in my act, that people need to get checked all the time when you feel like there's a little bit of a problem, because as you get older, the problems might not be prominent. You got to go figure it out.
Yep.
Recently, I had a problem where I had to pee like right away. I didn't even drink a lot of water, nothing. I'm like, holy shit, what the hell's going on? I had to pee so badly that I pulled over and a little blood came out. And then I called a few of my doctor friends, and they said, you passed the stone. I go, while I was driving? He goes, yeah. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, it is.
I thought, I'm dying, that's it, it's over. He goes,
Have you ever seen one?
No.
They're really sharp.
I didn't see it.
They're really sharp and really hard.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's why they're so painful.
Oh my God, I thought I cut myself. But I guess I didn't. And a friend of mine was like, dude, you know how lucky you are? You pissed it out. I'm like, how do you even know that?
Yeah. So what I would say to people watching this is that whether you're husbands, boyfriends, or you're men, you can't take the prostate as a joke, man. A lot of people, they'll think, okay, I'm over 40, I pee 3 times a night. If you're peeing 3 times a night, you need to go get your PSA checked. It could just be, your prostate swells, as you age, and it could just be that. But if you catch prostate cancer before it leaves the prostate, you got a 100% chance. You don't have to do the hormone treatments. You don't have to do nothing. They'll either monitor it or go in and zap it, and that's it.
And the check for prostate is a PSA test?
It's just a PSA test, man. You do a PSA blood test. You can go to Quest. You can go to any hospital, anything like that, and you check it. And if it's anything above a 4.0, then you need to do some more checks. Where it
Good to know.
Where it should be is a 1.0, 2.0 max. If you
I'm actually going to look into that, because I thought, oh God, what's wrong with me?
Yeah. If you're getting up 3 times a night to pee, you're getting up too many times. And if you're peeing 4 or 5 times a day, then you either got, there's a lot of different things it can be that's not cancer, but if you're over 40, over 45, and you're peeing a lot at night, go check your PSA.
This is fantastic. I'm so glad we got this down, because I know a lot of people going, I'm glad these guys told us this shit. You're going to write it down, research it, Google. Now we're going to talk about show business.
You want to stay off of Google, because Google will tell you if you have a pimple that you have cancer. So, like I said, the main thing you want to do about checking your prostate health is just check your PSA. That's it.
Is that right? You really believe Google give you a little too much information, wrong information?
Yeah, like when I first got diagnosed with that, and I Googled, they said I had less than 3 years to live.
Right.
And I was just panicking, I'm like, what the fuck is this? There's got to be some way to fix that, and then the doctors are like, yeah, that's how it was 5 years ago. It's not like that now. If you respond, and this was before I responded, they're like, if you respond to treatment, you're going to be okay. And I did, thankfully, thank whoever up there.
So now he's looking good, he's sharp. I always call him the new 007. This is James Bond.
I'm letting the hair grow out.
Yeah, I noticed you let your hair grow.
That's for the ministry that we're going to be doing over there in February. So, I play a ministry agent. The agents masquerade as a biker gang. It's pretty cool.
How did you get involved with, let's say, Mob King and Jokes and your team of people who put that together? And then you went on to do a few other projects, like, of course, Silent Partners, Cherry Pickers, Suitcasing. And, like, how does this come to you, or who did you go to actually start?
Well, I basically just got out and just started filming stuff, on my iPhone.
Right.
I was like, I was very naive about how it goes, because everybody thinks you just film it and they'll come, but that's not how it works.
No, it's not.
So, but fortunately, Anthony Carone, had heard about it, contacted me, and then, introduced me to Jokes, and fast forward through that, I meet Barry. Barry puts a web series together for us, and I guess my character and my ability on screen just took it from there, and people just gravitated towards it, and I come up with things, for ideas for shows and stuff like that. The prison comedy was based on actual true events, all the way down to the names of all the actors and everybody in it, and the lieutenant that I hated in there, I used him, and the whole 9 yards, so that's in there. And then Silent Partners, of course, was me and my brother Dave Icavetti. We decided to let the cat out of the bag on that one, because my whole time, I'm not a clout chaser, so I was never like, oh, I used to work for this person, that person, this person, I think that's all ridiculous. So you know, we come out with silent partners and an insurance scam that was going on in the 80s, and then COVID hit, you know, and I'm kind of one of those guys that sticks to, I want to do this my way or I'm not going to do it type of thing, you know. So I wasn't going to cut out all the guys like you who were in it, who were counting on me to make something happen with it. And now here we are, and we're going to turn it into a movie because it already has distribution and it already has a powerful company behind it called Buffalo 8. And so now we're going to film in February, late January, 30 to 45 more minutes. So we're going to put it all together as a film and release it, and it's going to do really good.
So you're actually going to take original footage from Silent Partners and add to it?
Yeah. After, well, I'm not going to tell what goes on in the movie, but, you know, after that part where, you know, you have a headache, you know, we go into a whole nother segment. It's in the 80s, you know, and my character basically, you know, is just going to rob everybody and anybody that was a gangster back then, you know, the Gambinos, the Chicago outfit, Pablo Escobar, which is the next step. You know, we're going to go into that. We're adding new cast members to it for that last 30, 45-minute segment. You know, Tony Darrow is going to be in, Paul Borghese, Oksana Lada, who is the mistress of, you know, Tony Soprano for the first 3 seasons. She's a dear friend of mine, great actress, so she'll be in it. We're talking with Stephen Bauer to play the drug kingpin. He was Manolo in Scarface and Ray Donovan and a whole bunch of other stuff. He wasn't Ray Donovan, but he was in Ray Donovan. And, you know, and we're also going to try to get John Voight for a cameo. You know?
These are great names, great ideas. It's going to be a great, great project. When I was telling you about my relationship with John Voight, it happened because I was hosting the Beverly Hills Film Awards. And I would do it every year. And they would have a lot of celebrities there, and maybe 300-400 people. It was like the mini Oscars.
Yeah.
I would come out with a tuxedo and read the teleprompter and the whole 9 yards. It was just like the greatest time of my life doing it. And in these film festivals, you know all the heads of the film festival because they're the ones who hire me to come out and do what you do.
Yeah, of course.
So I remember John Voight came walking into the room late, and he was going to be getting the Lifetime Achievement Award. So as a host who can't go to a commercial break and the band's not playing, I just started saying things like, "Who are you to come in here late like this?" And everybody started cheering. Because they're like, "Oh my God, he's going to break John Voight's balls," right?
Yeah.
But he has such a great demeanor that he was going with it. So we started roasting each other for the whole night.
Yeah.
So when he came up on stage and I said, "Ladies and gentlemen, Lifetime Achievement Award, Mr. John Voight," he grabbed the microphone and he goes, "Ladies and gentlemen, I just want to tell you, this young man should be hosting the Oscars. This is hilarious. That's a personality. I love you, and I don't even know who you are."
Yeah.
And we became friends.
Yeah, so the reason why we're looking at picking him is like people like Anthony Carone and Jokes and all them, they always have this thing, you know, when I was learning the craft of acting and everything, they would always say, "You remind me of John Voight. You remind me of John Voight." So we're like, how cool would it be to have him play me, you know, 30 years later?
Yup.
In Silent Partners. So,
Yup.
you know, so that's where we're headed with that.
And we got to make that happen.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
We'll reach out to some of our friends and we'll ask to see if we can't get some favors or whatever like this. But these are going to be really, really great projects. Can you tell anybody about Cherry Pickers?
Yeah, Cherry Pickers is it's basically a comedy that we shot, a proof of concept. You're in that as well, and it's in Hollywood. There's this thing, you know, where people feel like, you know, these big time guys cherry pick ideas from other guys. Like they'll go on IMDb and they'll find an idea.
Steal.
Yeah, steal. And they change the name, the concept, i.e. Tulsa King, Mob King. Guy gets out after 20 years, goes to Midwest on the run because the family's trying to kill him. Yet Mob King had that exact same scenario 5 years prior on IMDb.
Right.
So instead of filing against Tulsa King, which is what our lawyer wanted us to do, they're like, "Yo, you can stop this whole thing with an injunction," because how are they going to respond to that? I mean, there's even some dialogue that's exactly like the webisode episode 2 of Mob King, and, you know, 5 years ago. Where he says, "I don't care if you're Italian or Puerto Rican or whatever. If you're good, you're in with me. I'm starting my own crew." That's word for word what we said in episode 2 of Mob King, you know? So, I mean, episode 3 of Mob King, right? So aside from doing that, I didn't want to be alienated, you know. I love Sly Stallone and stuff like that, and you know, Tyler Sheridan had just gotten a big deal, $200-something million to make all these different shows. So here he's got to kick out all these different shows. So whatever, they have the money, the power to do it. And then you got the little guys that are just there, you know. I guess Seth Rogen has a reputation for doing some of that too, where he's cherry picked people's ideas. So I don't know if that's true, Seth, but that's just what people say about you. So you know, we decided to play off of that. So that's where the characters come in. Now, you know, you probably know this, a lot of people know this. I don't really have an acting bug like these guys do. I have more of a creating bug. So I was going to play the lead in Cherry Picker, but I had the opportunity to have Rafael Castillo, who's, you know, our friend there that plays the detective in Silent Partners, you know, and he covers a lot of the dynamic to help it get sold in Hollywood, you know. He's a black Latino, heavy set, comedic, you know, so I'm like, this is a great opportunity if we can get him. So we offered him my role, he accepted, so then I just play that little studio head. But the reality of it is, if you're in this business to be successful, you're going to do whatever you need to do for the project.
Yes.
You know, because too many people...
Like a baseball team.
Yeah, too many people make vanity projects, and that's why it doesn't really go anywhere. They want to do this and that and the other thing. I tell people all the time, the majority of the reasons why I'm the lead in my stuff is so I don't have to pay a lead actor, you know? So I save money at it. You know what I mean? And it just so happens that I was pretty good at it, you know? So, but ideally, I don't like acting. I think it's boring. I hate standing around. I hate all the whole process. You know, I'm more of a guy who likes to take this seed and make it blossom into an awesome plant and say, all right, this looks great, and move on to the next one.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm headed in that, you know. I did sign with a big agency out in California, and because they seem to think I could be a leading man. So if somebody wants to write me checks for $4 or $5 million per episode or whatever, I'll do it. But other than that, I'm not going to do stuff for $1,000 a day, you know, and go crazy.
But I have been saying since the day I met you, I'm like, this guy he's the new 007. This is James Bond, man. He's got the look, man. When I was watching Mob King and you're standing there and that one scene on the boat and the guy's full of blood and a knife and just you being calm and cool, having dinner at the dinner table, I'm like, I don't even know what the word is. You're just so engaging.
Thank you.
You're not over the top at all. I think one of the greatest actors of all time is Denzel Washington.
Oh,
Man,
yeah.
you can't stop staring at this guy, and sometimes he's not even saying anything. You're like, wow, he's blowing me away. So when I was looking at you in the dailies, I'm like, man, this guy is going to knock it out of the ballpark. Now, I know my place in the food chain. I want to be the other guy. I want to be the guy that says, "Oh, here's the way you make this gun, and it's going to shoot, and the gas is going to explode." You know, like the other guy.
Yeah.
Because lucky for me, I get to tour as a comedian, and I know I'm going to just heighten my tours by playing maybe some kind of a wise ass, a guy in some of the projects that you do. But man, you do pull it off, and you pull it off well. So I'm really hoping that these guys will keep on taking you to the next level, because I mean, if you look at Martin Scorsese, it's like almost the same cast all the time.
Yeah.
They're all good friends, De Niro and Pacino and stuff like that.
It's funny you mention that, because that's what, you know, I mirror the things that I do based off of other people, because if you want to be great, you follow greatness, right?
Yeah.
So he says the reason why he uses the same people all the time is because he knows what he gets out of them, and I realize that that's true. But unfortunately, like, in the two mob stories, because one's Mob King and one's Silent Partners is about the mafia, I don't want to make it where you don't know which one you're watching.
Right. Well, of course.
So I changed people out, stuff like that, and you know, naturally, when I was first starting, as you know, 4 or 5 years ago, people didn't take me serious. They're just like, oh, who's this guy? Thinks he's this or that or whatever. And now I've earned the respect of many, you know, because now people see I have the ability to do these things. I have a knack for putting the right people in the right places to make things work the right way, you know, and that's really what it boils down to on whether or not you're going to be able to do something. I cast all my own projects myself. I make all the decisions on everything from art to this or that. I wear a lot of the hats. I do the line producer. I do all these different things, right? Because I want to make sure that this is my vision. If I'm doing your vision, then I'm going to listen to what you have to say.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Yup.
You know, so I create my own stuff, you know, and people always say, hey, can you do this for me? Can you do that for me? And they don't understand. Like, some people wake up every morning and be like, how am I going to get the money for the light bill? I wake up every morning and be like, how am I going to find $500,000 today to do this project? You know what I mean? And I go about that, you know, and, you know, it's not an easy thing to do. It's getting easier now because I'm building a track record.
You got a track record.
So now I have Hollywood players, like for the ministry, is going to be funded by a real company on debt financing and tax breaks and all that other kind of stuff, money guarantees and stuff like that. So I've crossed that threshold. So now, you know, we're talking about making 4 films a year, and each one's going to get bigger and better. So now it's going to be like that. So I'm going to remember all of the people who I had good experiences with acting, and I'm going to remember all the ones who I didn't. You know what I mean? So, you know, with that said, that's just the way business is. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
you know, I'm just going to keep making films. Hopefully, I keep hiring people instead of me doing it, because, like I said, I would much prefer to do that. I'm not really interested in being a director. I think that being a great producer and being able to find a director, because all of the same way I'm not big on doing all of the things you need to do as an actor, standing around waiting and then delivering this, that, and the other thing. You know, if you've been on set with me, you know I don't rehearse. I learn my lines right before I do it, so it just comes out. You know what I mean? But a lot of it's laziness too. I don't want to spend a lot of time, you know, doing that stuff. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
But I do it, you know, and I'm co-writer on it, so I already know what's got to be done and stuff like that. But I always want to be in a position where it's like, okay, this is the project I have, this is what I'm doing, these are the people I'm putting in play, and that's where I'm at now. You know what I mean? I know each role. Like, a lot of times I'll cast people without having the role for them. That's how me and Jokes and Bishop, we write. Like with you guys, when Gary recommended you guys, I went in, I seen what you guys do, and if you notice, Leo is you, you know? D'Onofrio's character, Marmo's character, Villar's character, everybody's them,
Yeah.
you know? Because we created the roles based on your personalities and stuff, you know?
That's a great thing, and I appreciate that, and I
Yeah.
like doing that. I liked working on Cherry Pickers because when I was watching what you guys were doing, I'm like, wait a minute. I had no idea. You want me to be a fictitious person who in the scene actually exists.
Right.
And I'm like, that is genius.
It
And
is
I
pretty
wish
cool.
I had the opportunity to see, you know, Jay Bishop do it before I did it, but maybe it was best that I didn't.
Yeah.
Because when he was telling me in the green room, this is the way I act, I'm like, okay, so I'm supposed to be you,
Have you seen it?
or a ripoff of you.
Did I send you the assembly?
Yeah, I saw it.
Okay,
I
yeah,
saw the
so-
whole thing.
Yeah, well, it's almost finished. Like, we're doing the coloring and the posts and everything now. We're going to put it in the film festivals and stuff like that. Because, you know, I killed the film festival circuit with all the projects, man.
Yeah, I
I'll
wish
film
I was
free
still
with
hosting half those film festivals so I could say, and now, Ciro. But the
Yeah.
funniest thing is when I was watching the project, I'm like, oh, wow, look at that. Now I get what they're doing. You know what? That's a real good fucking slap in the face.
Yeah.
I'm actually one of the guys acting in a scene that was stolen
it. Right, exactly.
from the
Exactly.
guy who we watched do it. And that's so Hollywood.
Yeah, it's classic.
Yeah, and I'm like, wow, okay, I'm really happy that I'm part of something like that, because I'd
Yeah.
love to do something like that, because I actually wouldn't act like that. I'm not
Yeah.
that bit of a, let's say, an asshole, but I wanted to make the guy an asshole because I
Yeah.
saw the way he was doing it. I'm like, wow,
Yeah.
this is badass.
And it takes time, you know? Like, people think, you know, like with Mob King, everybody would say, oh, how long has he been bringing out Mob King? You know, yeah, how long have I been bringing it out? When you see shows like, what's that, Forrest Gump took 20 years, Deadpool took 8 years. All of these different movies take all these years, and here I am 5 years into this, I got 5 franchises. You know, I got one full feature and another one coming. You know, I'm getting the major distribution. How much faster do you want me to do? And I did it with a 2-year hiatus of COVID. And now I'm doing
Plus
it with
the-
a strike. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't let nothing stop me. You
Plus
know?
the health issues. So
Yeah,
yeah,
but I
man.
still kept working. Even when I had to cancel, I was still filming, you know? I was still doing everything I had to do with Mob King, so.
I love all these projects. Of course, I would like to be part of everything. And, you know, I hope I can call you someday on the road in front of thousands of people going, hey, man, the episode looked great. I got to go on stage. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Hey, I'm in a new series.
Yeah, well, you know, we're gonna do a movie first, and then maybe we can transition from a movie to a series instead of doing it the other way around. For all you filmmakers out there, I just want to let you know that if you're trying to do a series and think that you're going to get picked up, there's like a 99.9% shot that that's not going to happen. They just do not invite independent series creators. I don't care how much money you spend. I spent almost $1 million on Silent Partners as a pilot. It's great, and the only couple of offers I had was for me to gut everybody except myself, and I wasn't going to do that, because the whole purpose of me doing it was, for one major network, cable network, the deal was, that, and I told them, I said, I go, well, David Chase, had The Sopranos, and they said, well, you're not David Chase. I said, well, how do you know I'm not David Chase?
Right.
I said, if you like the show enough to where you want to do a deal with me, then you should let me do it my way. And they're like, well, we have our own people that we want in there. And that's where you're going to run into the problems, that every outlet has their own people, their own showrunners. So immediately when you start talking to somebody and they like your idea, their first thing is they bring in a showrunner that they're going to want to have control over it. And then that guy's going to say, well, I want this person, and this person. And then it ends everything. And they're like, well, we want to film it again.
Yep.
And you understand why, because I might sit here and say, well, I spent $1 million on Silent Partners, but the reality of it is these shows spend $3-4 million per episode. So it's a big time difference, you know what I mean? So most people try to do their pilots and stuff with 30 grand, 40 grand, and it's not going to work. So what I would recommend if you're in that position before you go spend a bunch of money is I would take 2 days, I would film 6 or 7 scenes, I would make a sizzle reel, I would use existential shots of whatever city you're in, and create a 3 to 4 minute promo of what your show idea, your movie idea is about. And then you can contact people like slated.com is very good for filmmakers. You submit your thing, they evaluate your script, and then if it makes a score over, I think it's like 75, they put it into their system on finding you people that will make your stuff for you. I'm giving away a lot of tricks that I learned the hard way, but it's all about everybody coming up. I'm all for independent filmmakers making their way. So that's how you do it. There's companies like Buffalo 8 and a whole host of other ones that will do executive producer packages if they like your idea, and then they'll shop it, because in this business, as an independent, you will not be able to get your stuff seen by anybody. You cannot get into a distribution door. If you go, lower level distribution, yeah, but I'm talking about ones where you're going to really make money. You are not going to be able to talk to anybody. You understand? You have to have somebody that brings you to them, a sales agent, an agent, or somebody like that. And that's just not easy to do. But once you do have that door open, like me now, I got several on Rolodex. It's like, okay, I can call right up into anybody now, and that's the way it works. So if I had the knowledge I have now 4 years ago, Silent Partners would have not been made as a pilot, it would have been made as a movie. I would have just done things a lot different. So I had to learn the hard way, but
now you got bigger opportunities, and you can do it the way you want.
Yeah, now it's coming. Because in the end, I tell people all the time, when at least as it pertains to the entertainment world, people will always say, oh, I work harder than anybody. And I'll always say, that doesn't matter.
Right.
I'll take talent over hard work any day of the week. So that's what it boils down to. You gotta be able to know that if you go and you cast your friends in a project, that's going to weaken the project if they can't pull their weight as an actor.
You ain't
shit. You know what I'm saying? So acting is the key. One thing that people talk about my stuff, you don't have to like me, you don't have to like my projects, but people always say that movie has good actors. The acting is good. There's no weak links anywhere. Same thing with Mob King, they say it with Silent Partners. So that's a testament to the fact that, I think we're getting a little windy out here.
Yeah.
Right? That's a testament to the fact that, there's a lot of good talent out there. You just got to be able to say no to your friends and yes to the people who can pull it off.
And your friends should understand, because you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah.
One of the things that's really great about what Ciro mentioned, and you also mentioned his name, Sylvester Stallone. I was watching in an interview, and it was from a long time ago, after he had made Rocky.
Yeah.
The interviewer said to him, so how much money were you actually offered to give up your script? And he said $245,000. And he said, and at that time, that was a lot of money, but I had to say to myself, wait a minute, this could be the only shot I get, and I'm not going to give it up. And they probably would have went to $500,000, and I says, no, I have to be Rocky Balboa. And
Yeah,
Good thing he did.
I get compared to that story a lot, and let's keep it real right now. As at this point, I don't make money at this. You know what I mean? Like my investors that put, Anthony Caliendo, who did Mob King, he gets everything that comes in, because I'm not gonna be one of those people to be like, yeah, I want half right now. No, man, get all your money back, and then a year from now when it's all taken care of, whatever, now we're 50-50. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So, the fact of the matter is that I got to build a pipeline of films. Like the ministry deal that I'm going to be doing, I'll make some money for filming that. You know what I mean? Silent Partners, now I'll make money when that starts generating. So once I have the pipeline going, now I start generating the funds. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But, a lot of what I've seen is people aren't frugal with their money that they get to make stuff. You know what I mean? You have to be able to...
You better be careful.
Put the resources into it, because no matter what people want to talk about my past, and I've heard it all. You know what I mean? I've heard it all. Like, oh, you scammed this guy for $3 million. I'm like, okay, where's the guy? Where's the guy? All my stuff is public. Where's the guy that got scammed for $3 million? My investors are all in less than, I could fit them all on 10 hands. I mean, on 10 fingers. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
So it's like, and, it's not a great business model. So you have to make films $1 million and under. You have to understand the streaming aspect of it. You have to be able to factor in when the potential ROI is, and you have to be honest with somebody. If somebody's going to give me $8 million to make a movie, I'm going to tell them, let me make 8 of them. You see what I'm saying?
I would, yeah.
And you have to be willing not to line your pockets with it. You have to be able to produce the content, and that's what happens with me. People can say whatever they want, but the content gets produced at a high level, and it's out there. So you're left with a shut door in your face.
But you're pretty much saying, well, wait a minute, I did make the project. You could see it. That's it. You can actually watch it.
Exactly.
We made the project. Now we're moving on to the next thing.
Next one. Yep.
Getting investors is very difficult. And of course, if you're a legit filmmaker, your investor would get his money back first, and then away you go.
Yeah.
And then hopefully everybody will stay as a family and keep on going. And you franchise, and all of a sudden you're the new McDonald's, and
but
your team.
if you're telling an investor, oh, you'll get your money back in a couple months, you're going to have big problems, because it's not the way it works.
No.
In 12 months, if you make the money for the right budget, and it's a good film with good acting and good content and good production value, then they can see that money coming back. But otherwise, that's why I'm gonna, my threshold is $1 million. I'm not gonna make anything more than that, because I want the money to be coming in.
Yes.
I do this to make money. I don't do this because I want to be a superstar. I do this as a business.
It is business, and if we could keep on going, we could keep on growing, and do everything we want. And before you know it, you're sitting in front of a pool like this every day, coming up with new ideas to keep on doing stuff in this great business called the entertainment world.
Yeah.
I love it so much.
Yeah.
Could you tell everybody where they could find you on the internet? He has one of the biggest followings on social media.
I just go to Facebook, Ciro Dapagio. That's where I do most of my engagements. I mean, I have TikTok, 150,000, but to me, I just post the same. If I make a reel, I put it everywhere. So Facebook is where you can see everything.
But your Instagram's pretty big. I think you sent me
it was at 1 million, and then it got hacked, and then I built it back up to 700,000, and it got hacked by those Bitcoin people. And then another one was a girl. One of these actresses, I think the name was Valentina or something, sent it, says, hey, I'm in this thing, can you vote for me? So I was like, yeah, sure. I clicked the link. The second I clicked the link and opened it, they had access to my account and shut me out of it.
Holy crap,
Yeah,
really?
so now I don't even really care about Instagram too much. I got like 13,000 followers there. I don't really work it. I'm starting to do it a little bit more, because people are there that aren't over here, so I spend a little bit more time there. And but the whole purpose for me to do social media when I first started was to get where I could get distribution deals and show that I had a fan base and all that. I'm at that now, so that's a big reason why Buffalo 8 is hard on me, because they're like, hey man, you got a great engagement, this is a good lift up. It's proven that it works with Mob King because of the amount of views and amount of things that went on, so my reach is long when it comes to that. But yeah, Facebook, a lot of people downplay it and downplay social media, but if you're downplaying it, you're making a big mistake.
Oh yeah, no.
A grave error.
Folks, we're all over social media. You
Grave
know me.
error.
I'm a social media whore, because I'm a live performer and I need the fans. He's got a great following. He's got great fans. I watch what he does. Every time you tag me, I re-put it back out. So once again, tell everybody where they could find you on the internet, and tell them where we could see Mob King and anything else that you got it going on.
Mob King is everywhere: Apple TV, Amazon, and all the rest of that. And then Tubi for free, Plex for free, Sling for free. It's in your airlines, it's in your hotels, so it's everywhere. And it's coming worldwide too. I think they're starting to do that now. And Silent Partners will be out, you know, probably summer release. We're looking at getting a theatrical run out of it, and you know, we're going to be filming in February, and ministry right behind that. So, you know, the filmmaking days are on.
A lot of great projects. A really great guy. Just told you guys how to stay healthy. Told you guys how to do business, and told you guys where you could find his work in the future, and on and on and on. I want to thank Ciro for letting me come to his gorgeous house, giving me a nice cappuccino, a great conversation in front of a beautiful jacuzzi with his little dog running around. You guys, I want you to follow him. Take a look at the projects. Mob King. Can you still got Mob King merchandise?
Yeah, we got everything. Mob King Olive Oil, mobkingoliveoil.com, T-shirts, King Geo, apparel.com. We got everything. We got weed. we got CBD oil.
Oh, no shit. I didn't know about that.
Cigars. I mean, there's just...
That's great.
And don't forget to drink your Monsters.
Drink your Monsters. You want to hold up? You can.
Yeah. You know, I told them I'm not a big advocate of unhealthy stuff, but they write a check, so drink it.
Folks, we got to get going. Thank you so much, Ciro, for letting me come over, man. This is just really, really great. You know where to find us, folks. Everything is at Mike Marino Live on all social media every Tuesday night. Go ahead.
Shout out to Gary Pastore. Said he's going to be watching. He plays Fat Dave Icavetti in Silent Partners. It has James Russo, Nick Vallonga, Oscar Torre, Joseph D'Onofrio, Ronnie Marmo. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. I don't know who I missed. Mike Marino, James Bishop, and you know, the new people we're gonna add. So Silent Partners, gonna be a big time.
We'll be in touch. We'll get to see all of this stuff.
And shout out to my guy Anthony Caliendo for making Mob King possible.
Anthony
and Barry J. Minoff.
Good stuff. Great guys.
Yeah.
So, folks, keep on watching my podcast every Tuesday night at 8 o'clock, exclusively now on my YouTube channel, which is Mike Marino Live on YouTube. Big shout out to my producer, Tatiana Blue Shell.
Hey, Tatiana.
For always making sure the podcast comes out great and people get to see it every Tuesday night at 8 o'clock. I'm Mike Marino. Remember, let's make America Italian again.
Now we're hitting the Italian jacuzzi.
Yeah, look at that, huh? Remember, you don't know nothing, you don't see nothing, you don't say nothing. And I end every single one of my podcasts by saying the same thing with my guests. Don't take no shit from nobody. Ready?
Don't take
no shit from nobody. Hey, folks, I hope you're enjoying watching my podcast live from my mother's basement. We're having a lot of fun, and I'm going to have a lot of great guests on the show in the future. So if you like it, hit like. You could also leave a comment. You could subscribe to my YouTube channel and watch other funny videos. And you could also listen to my podcast on your favorite podcast app like Spotify and iTunes.